National PSI Exam Prep, page 101. True or false? Number 64. A lease transfers possession of real estate, but not legal title at the time of signing. True. Number 65. A tenant who pays a base rent and a percentage of the expenses has a percentage lease. False. Net lease. Number 66. A tenant who is renting a commercial property pays a certain percentage of the gross sales profit of the business in addition to the base rent. This is an example of a percentage lease. True. Number 67. A tenant who has rented a residential property for a long period of time agrees to pay a slightly higher rent each year of her lease. This is an example of a ground lease. False. Graduated / step up. Number 68. A tenant who is renting a residential property is allowed to apply rental payments to the purchase of the property. This is an example of a sale leaseback. False. Rent with option to buy. Number 69. A gross lease is one whereby the landlord pays all property charges and the tenant pays a fixed monthly rent. True. Number 70. A lease must be in writing to be enforceable unless it is for a time period of 1 year or less. True. Number 71. If the lessor sells the property to someone other than the lessee, the lease would be terminated. False. The lease stays in force. Number 72. When a leased property is sold, the seller must transfer all security deposits to the buyer. True. Number 73. A tenant who has cause to use constructive eviction may give the landlord notice that she is not paying rent, but will stay in the property until the complaints are resolved. False. Tenants using constructive eviction must move out. Number 74. In accounting for expenditures made on behalf of the principal, a manager of an apartment complex should consider maintenance, personal salaries, and real estate taxes as operating expenses. True. Number 75. A landlord gave a tenant a 2-year lease. The landlord died at the end of the first year, and the property was sold. The tenant must vacate the property. False. The tenant's rights are not terminated by the death or sale and continue until the end of the lease term. Number 76. Under conditions of climbing inflation, a property manager would be reluctant to negotiate a fixed lease. True. Number 77. A buyer has contracted with a seller to purchase property. The closing was completed on March 31st. The status of the contract on April 1st is executed. True. Number 78. Minors always make contracts void. False. Voidable. Number 79. The default remedy available to both parties in the purchase agreement is liquidated damages. False. Specific performance. Number 80. Duress, fraud, minors, and misrepresentation make contracts voidable. True.